Okay, so this first graph talks about the different factors that are used to find the expected returns, that are used to determine the expected returns of a portfolio. So they are used in these asset pricing models. So the first asset pricing model is CAPM, which identifies beta as the only priced factor. So to analyze this, I have applied the CAPM formula to the sample portfolio I, and I found the returns of it. There have been extensions of this model. So the first one is the zero beta CAPM, which substitutes the risk-free rate for a portfolio with a zero beta. Then the next model is 3-moment CAPM, which identifies an additional factor, skewness of returns. So this is basically how the volatility of returns of a particular asset. So I have again applied this to the portfolio I. And next model is the intertemporal CAPM, which says that over a period of time the returns are expected to increase. Then the next is the Fama and French 3-factor asset pricing model, which identifies the factors size risk and value risk to the existing market risk. And again I've created a portfolio J with small cap stocks, and we can see that the returns are actually relatively higher than the classic CAPM. Then the Carhart 4-factor model is an extension of the Fama and French, which introduces a additional factor, cross-sectional momentum factor, that basically says if the stocks are performing well, they will continue to perform well. Then the again this is applied to portfolio J. Then between the two factors, risk and return, there is an if and only if relationship. So because of this, this gave rise to the APT. So in APT, it basically gives you the flexibility to add how many of a microeconomic variable factors you want. So I've applied this to portfolio I and portfolio J, and we can see the returns are actually greater than the classic CAPM. Because then an additional factor that is being analyzed, that has not been introduced in any of the previous models, is the health risk factor. So this health risk factor is basically how companies face an operational risk in production and how it will affect the returns of a company. So we have applied this to our two portfolios, I and J, and we can see that the returns fall by more than 50%. Okay, so the next question basically talks about how there are high costs in actively managing portfolios. That's why to decrease these costs, investors look for other options such as portfolio management strategies, which has 5 main strategies. The first is buy and hold. Second is indexing, which has 3 types. Full replication, in which the weights are the same. Second is partial replication, which chooses only the top performing assets from the index. And the third one is quadratic optimization or programming, which relies on historical data and computer programs. So basically after this we look at what an ETF is and that it is traded just like any other stock, and furthermore we choose a particular ETF which is suitable in these market conditions. The ETF that I have chosen is XLU Utilities ETF, traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So basically, and during a global pandemic, it is advisable to invest in an essential sector because they are not expected to face great volatility. So I have applied this, I have included this ETF in the previous portfolio I, and we can see that the returns have increased due to diversification. Moreover, I created a portfolio with just ETFs, and we can see the returns are the highest in this. So I would advise you to invest in an ETF. However, it should be noted that there are many limitations around ETF, some of which include a market risk of the underlying securities. There are arbitrage risks included in high trading, include high trading costs pertaining to short selling, holding costs, cost of margin, debt, and payments of dividends related to trading in ETF. Then there is an unclear relationship between the liquidity and ETFs, and moreover there is a lot of scope for price manipulation in ETF. And The next graph talks about the Famtal paper sector. So the first one that I've chosen is banking. So we can see that during COVID-19, positive effect in banking. So we can say that this is because banking does not face an operational risk because they have shifted from a physical platform to a virtual platform. So the next sector is healthcare. So we can see that there are mixed effects in this. Positive effects are due to increased demand for healthcare and greater value generation due to it being an essential sector. Then negative effects are firstly due to an operational risk, and secondly a contamination risk where people are avoiding going to the hospitals. Second sector. Third sector is industrial transportation. Negative effect is due to the need for transporting materials has decreased. A lot of vehicles are stationary. However, it should be noted that a lot of delivery companies are still operational, and due to the relaxation, a lot of construction has already started, has already begun. Then the fourth sector is travel and leisure. So the outdoor leisure and travel decreased substantially because now people have shifted towards online gaming and online streaming. And the next sector is electricity, which again showed mixed reactions. The decrease in industrial use is very high, and that could be a rational explanation for the drop. However, due to relaxation and manufacturing units have already started, the demand for electricity is starting to rise. And so those were the 5 sectors. So basically this research has helped, will help any portfolio manager around the world to speculate what will happen in their country. Moreover, I designed a portfolio with just the best performing companies in China, and we can see that the returns are very close to that of the market. Okay, so the fourth graph talks about is a reflective essay for the forex dealing simulation. So when the simulation started, we decided to keep in mind the previously discussed strategies, and we did not want to deteriorate from this. So we had the objective of collecting USD 385 million and Euro 225 million, and also AUD 400 million for speculation. So we took into account factors such as behavior of banks and the central bank, changes in rates, the effects of the different events on the currencies, and how easy is it to transact with any bank. So in terms of our trading strategies, the first one was an effective tabulation, that was setting out tables beforehand to record trades. This worked out very well for us because there was no confusion during the simulation. Second one was buy low and sell high. This was the most important one throughout the simulation. This helped us to minimize losses, and we were able, our average rates were lower than the market rates. And in terms of the third one, that was to maximize productivity, we had divided the work. The fourth one was where we developed a good relation with the banks. This particularly helped me because I was getting a faster response from the banks as compared to the general complaint, which was that banks were not responding. Then the fifth one was about market speculation. In this, we did not develop any specific strategy, so it was very vague. So something more specific would have helped us. Any additional thing that I would want to add to these strategies was to trade in the same currency, which would help us to make profits. I did this once during the simulation where I bought euro at a lower rate and sold it at a higher rate. And one of the mistakes I did was reacting wrongly to the cure announcement. So at this point where the AUD had appreciated, I still wanted to buy euro and USD. So at this point I could have negotiated for better rates with the bank. We could have had a better strategy in terms of speculation. So basically this simulation was helpful for portfolio analysis because it provided me with the idea of market behaviors to specific events and what would lead to the appreciation and depreciation of different currencies. it helped me implement different strategies and see the effects of that. And so based on the simulation, I created a small portfolio F, a forex portfolio, where I've predicted that which currency is going to appreciate or depreciate against which currency. So I think that countries that are close to developing a cure would be a good investment strategy, because as we notice, AUD appreciated after the cure. However, it should also be noted that if the cure does take time to develop, it is important to invest in countries that are performing well during the pandemic.